Hey you guys, greetings and salutations. This is James here at Unique Perspectives. Thought I'd make a video about something that I thought was really important, and maybe it'll be helpful to some of you ladies out there. I'm gonna just introduce 4 reasons why a man may not be actually interested in actually marrying you. So I'm just gonna run down these 4, and I'm just gonna kind of try to make this quick, but I don't want to make it too complex. But I think it's important just to get this information out here, because I actually know a few lady friends in my life that they've actually spent a lot of their time wasted on men that, you know, really had no intention of marrying them. And so just evaluating their lifestyles and things like that, I could see why that the men decided not to move forward. So I just want to run these past you guys, and just might be kind of rough, but want to just go through these. I do want to encourage you to like and subscribe if you like the video, and I would love your support. And if you have any things you want to say, you want to share, have a dialogue or things like that, please comment. I'd appreciate that. So the first thing I actually want to address, and I'm going to say number 1, is really just you are around way too many guys. Although there are some guys that are okay with being around women that are surrounded by men all the time, I'm one of those guys that I'm a little bit more traditional. I don't want to see a woman that I'm considering spending the rest of my life with around a bunch of guys. Now the stereotype is that most ladies that are always around guys, they're always dating those guys, they're always having some type of sexual interaction with those guys, and a lot of us, we don't want to be a part of that. And so it's really a turnoff for a lot of us that are more conservative or Christian, or conservative Christian, that we just don't care for that. You know, so to me that's a red flag already. I would not consider being with somebody that has too many men around her, and it's just something that it just complicates every single thing. It complicates everything. Hey, who is that so-and-so? Oh, that's, you know, Jeremy, and he's my play cousin. Oh, who is that then? Oh, he's just my friend, my best friend, and you know, yeah, he sleeps over my house, but oh, okay. Oh, who is that over there? Oh yeah, that's just Eric, and you know, we like to watch movies together. And it's like, you know, and a lot of times when you investigate the lives of these ladies, not all, but often they've had sex with all these guys, they've had some type of sexual interaction, and it's just not cool. But a lot of us, we just don't care for that at all. The best way to avoid having any issues with a woman like that is not to take her seriously and just not date her at all, and definitely not marry her. Number 2 is really just a woman that has already been offering you marital benefits without the marriage. So this means that you are cohabitating with a guy. That means that you are already having sex with the guy, that you've already had children with the guy. Although there are some men that have some type of integrity and honor and will move forward with marrying you, there are a lot of guys that if you offer these things without any type of commitment, well, it really takes the fun out of it to them. They're not going to want to take you seriously, because it's like you don't really require serious. Why would they want to commit to somebody that doesn't have any standards, you know? And so it's really sad, because there are a lot of men that are hypocrites. They will be okay with enjoying a woman for a season, but when it comes to actually being serious, they will not consider marrying you. In fact, they will marry somebody else and have children with somebody else and leave you on the sideline. So it's really important that you are very careful not to offer yourself to someone without having any standards. You want to establish standards even from the get-go, that, you know, you're not willing to just be with just anybody. You have standards, you expect marriage, you expect a commitment, expect exclusivity, you know. And so it's really important just to, I really want to hammer that, because there's a lot of ladies that they think that magically if you offer your body to a guy, therefore he's going to marry you, and there's so much more to that. There's so much more. You do not want to cohabitate, you don't want to start having his children, because there's a lot of guys that it's not really interesting anymore. There's no interest in pursuing someone that they feel that they've already conquered, if that makes sense. It's really sad, but that's how a lot of guys operate. And this is of course why you want to consider being with a conservative Christian. You want to be with a man that loves God. So the next one is really just a lady that is being rude, or maybe she is fun and she's fun to drink with, and you know, and I don't drink, but there's a lot of guys I know that they enjoy being with a lady that likes to party, likes to have fun, likes to have sex and do all these sexual things. But when it comes to actually considering her to be in a serious relationship, kind of like the last point, that's not something that the man sees in her. Now there are a lot of guys that I've mentioned in my last point, there are a lot of guys that are perfectly fine with enjoying a woman for a season, but when it's time to be serious, they will not consider being with that woman, not at all, not even a little bit, you know. And I know a lot of ladies that they're getting a lot of guys, you know, that they connect with, and the guy is not taking them seriously. It's the next person that he's with, then he will take that person seriously and marry that person and live with that person and build a life with that person. But if you are not being a ladylike, if you're not displaying, you know, attributes of a wife, you know, it's really important just to keep that in mind. The Bible says that a man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. That's Proverbs 18:22. The Bible wants for men to pursue a woman and be with her, but the idea is that you want to be wife material before a man actually wifes you. Okay, you want to actually display attributes of a responsible adult, and instead of, like, I don't know, doing drugs, getting drunk, messing up a really messy life. And it's really crazy because again, there are a lot of guys that are hypocrites. They will happily enjoy a woman for a season, and as soon as, you know, they're ready to get serious, they won't be with that woman. They'll be with the next person that's actually serious. So you want to actually display attributes of a woman that has some type of integrity and honor, and you want to have standards. Again, I really want to emphasize that because men pay attention to that. If you have standards, standards. You know, if you don't have standards, it's gonna be like, okay, you're fun for a season, and then when I'm ready to get serious, the guy's gonna move on to someone else. The last one I think is a little controversial to some extent, but I think it has to be said. There are a lot of guys that will not consider you potential partner if you have a high body count. I believe I heard on a podcast recently, I think it's Just Purely thing, so I like to check out the information from Pearl on that podcast sometimes. And she mentioned that she read statistically that women that have had more than, I think it's between 3 to 5 sexual partners, often their relationships in the future, they deteriorate. But a woman, for example, that's been a virgin, you know, or had maybe less partners, you know, 10 years down the line after they're married, they're still happy and they're still filled. And I think what happens is a lot of women, when they start experiencing multiple men, first off, it becomes a little bit more complicated to have a stable standard for that man that you're with, because you've already experienced so many other men that you're constantly comparing them to one another. And so that can be a psychological, spiritual issue already. To be quite serious with you, there are a lot of us guys that we are just simply not attracted to women that have been all over town with different guys. Now again, there are guys that will consider being with that woman temporarily and have fun, but to be actually interested in building something with her, that's not on the table. That's not something a guy will actually consider. Now the guy won't tell you that. Most guys won't tell you that, but that will be what's going on. And even me, I may listen to different stories of my female friends, and they will tell me, oh hey, I was hanging out with this guy, and I'll say, okay, I know that you most likely was intimate with this guy, the guy from high school, this guy that admired you and you spent a lot of time with, and I will be calculate, okay, so at minimum, there's 4 partners, and for a lot of us, we're just not interested in that. I will say that for a Christian, a man who loves God, he observes that you are somebody that's changed, somebody that is showing like a new life in Christ. That could change, and that can make you more attractive. Somebody that, you know, used to be, you know, kind of like all over the place, but now you're mature, now you're displaying a rich character. Even I would make an exception for a woman like that. So it's really important just to keep that in mind. But I hope these are helpful. Hope, you know, you ladies out there can grab something from this. But a lot of us guys, we're very sensitive, and especially with the red pill movement, you know, really feeding a lot of guys a lot of this information of not being with single moms, not being with a woman with a high body count, and all this stuff. It's going to get harder for a lot of you ladies that are not Christian women, you know, quite plainly. So just wanted to arm you with this information. You might want to be especially careful with how you conduct yourself, because whether a guy's telling you this or not, they are observing the type of character or lack of character that you're displaying.